Coach Pugh. You guys had a little more time to prepare. You kind of had that period where, 50-50, we'll say, that you knew Jackson State was a possibility. Could you tell us how you prefer? Like, do you like that amount of time to prepare, or would you, can you get too much rest in a period like this?
I don't know if you can get too much rest. We took a couple of days off. We had a long season. This is our 15th game, I said earlier, this year. So it's been a lot of ball playing, in Orangeburg. So, we were looking for an opportunity to kind of settle in a little bit and give our guys a little bit of a break away from the game. So we took a week off. And then from there, we went back after it. And even at that point, we only going about 3 days a week. This week, we're going 4 days. But, it's a situation where, you got to find your happy medium. This is the first time we've done it, so I don't know for sure, if we're doing exactly right. We're trying to figure some things out as we go. But I can tell you that we've tried to do our very best of making sure that we got enough work in to make sure that we were prepared, but not too much work in that we start to wear our guys down with this long season that we've had.
The next question will come virtually from Jeff Hartzell. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Coach Pugh, it's Jeff Hartzell from the Post and Courier in
Hey,
Charleston. Jeff. I'm wondering if you've ever met Coach Prime before, and what do you think about matching wits with him in the bowl game?
I've not met him, but I've watched him from afar for many, many years. I can remember being being on the sidelines at a Florida State Clemson game years ago as a high school coach. Seeing these guys run around and he's out there having fun and running and jumping. And I've been to a Braves game or two in my lifetime. I'm a tremendous Braves fan. So, my guys tell me at work, say, you can tell whether or not the Braves won or not by coach's move today. So, he's, a guy that I've admired from afar from a long, long time, and, both as a football and a baseball guy.
Coach Harrell, Manuel Glaze from Next Level Sports and Entertainment. What was the difference besides the athletes that y'all got in from the spring that y'all played to what y'all did this year, where it looks like it was a different attitude? What was the difference as a team that y'all put into place from the spring to this fall?
Emmanuel, great question. I think from the spring we was trying to get in and get established of the type of athletes that we had in the program. So we were trying to match up scheme and personnel with those guys. We had success early. Then we kind of fell off towards the end of the losing streak. But we want to make sure that we get the right fit. And when you go through a COVID year, pandemic, and Coach Pugh probably can attest to it, you don't really get a chance to sit down and meet the individual. You don't get a chance to look them in the eyes and make sure that he's the right fit for your program. So a lot of guys that we did bring in, probably not a good fit for what we're trying to get done. We're talking about smart, fast, tough, and disciplined. But you have them on your campus. You just try to get through the season with the guys that you have. And so the guys we're recognizing, Coach Prime always says it's like a 60-40. Guys, 60% guys that's bought in, and there's another 40% that's not bought in. And we always try to increase that number. So that 40-30%, we try to make sure that we somehow, because the NCAA, make no doubt about it, you have to be able to recruit and retain. So once you own those students, you want to get them through and make sure they matriculate for us to get a degree. But we still got to find the right mix of student athletes going to do the right thing, being on time. We're very, very strict when it comes to anything. Having on the same exact socks. If you don't have on black socks, you go in the locker room. Everyone has to look the same. So we try to stick to our plan, and we just continue trying to get the right mix of young men that's going to buy into what Coach Prime is trying to preach. And as you can see, we're having some success because every week there's some adversity. We're playing against some good teams. There's some great teams in the SWAC, but it's the team that's going to be the most disciplined for 4 quarters. And we have yet to play our best game, and we're looking forward to that as well.
Travis McGee here, Sports Talk Atlanta on the Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network. I want to ask both coaches. I used to play football here at Morehouse College, and I know how it is to showcase this talent during this football game. Talk to me about the excitement that you all have with this talent being showcased. I'm going to start with this game or this bowl game. I'm sure we're going to have Black College Football Hall of Famers in it. It's going to have College Football Hall of Famers in it. It's going to have players go to the next level. Talk to us about how this game will showcase that, and it will help you recruit.
I would say, I'm an HBCU guy, so, coming from Howard, Morehouse was definitely a game that we showcased to generate excitement on campus and across the country. Hampton was another university. So you try to find those marquee matchups. But I think this was something different. This one is a little bit more special because of the magnitude and the expectation that everyone is waiting to see. Everyone is waiting to see what's going to happen, and that's the unknown factor that's drawing everyone to this game. And I think we're doing a good job, both university and those involved as far as the marketing, creating that energy, creating that passion for folks to come out. You can tell by the ticket sales. But yes, it's going to be individual in this game that's going to play on Sundays. It's going to be some guys get drafted. So yeah, you want to make sure that this is a stepping stone in the right direction that we continue to build on, and next year continue to get more talent when it comes to recruiting, because this is going to be watched across the country. This is a very important game for what we're trying to get accomplished as far as continue to draw the right type of student athletes to this level of football.
And you, Coach Pugh?
We just came back from Las Vegas where we recognized Jacoby Durant as one of our top players in our league. He was selected as Defensive Player of the Year. And we've had a tradition at South Carolina State of having that particular position be ours. I think we've gotten maybe 5 out of the last 6 or something of that nature. So we continue, and so we sitting there with the Norfolk State coach talking about, who's the next guy. And they said, I got the next guy. We say, well, we think we've got the next guy. And games like this will give some of those guys that we don't necessarily hear their names on a regular basis an opportunity to be seen and to be recognized, in a very large way. So we've got lots of guys on this football team. We've got lots of people involved in our program in general that would be somehow or another recognized or emphasized in a way that I think could be, really beneficial from a situation such as this.
Keisha J. Kelly, Black College Experience, and this is for both coaches. You both say you fought against this actual Celebration Bowl, and now that you're here, how are the players feeling in the locker room? How are the guys feeling now that they're going to all be coming to Atlanta?
I would say our players feel very excited about the opportunity, And when we thought about it, it was just a competitive spirit in the coaches. We always wanted to see how far we can go to match up against other universities, other football teams. But for us, Jackson State, we have a lot of guys that really come from different levels. They're still learning the HBCU culture. So they don't really know about this. When we travel to Southern, when we have our homecoming with 50,000, when we come back and play in the SWAC championship, you can see the bright eyes from the guys that now are part of Jackson State and really, really trying to understand the HBCU culture. So for our guys, it's a game that they understand the magnitude, but I don't think it really hit them to understand what they're about to be facing until they actually get here in Atlanta and go through all the necessary things to prepare themselves for the game. And it's bigger than the game. It's all about all the experience and everything that we had to set up around the game, things that we have involved with the community. The game is the game. But once we get here and get a chance to get the guys to understand the city of Atlanta and all the events that's around the game, that's the most important part.
The next question will come from virtually James Hill.
Good morning, Coach Pugh, and good morning, Coach Harrell. It's James Hill with BNC Sports. When we look at the renewed conversation of quality human beings, NFL Hall of Famers and coaches and everybody coming back home, so to speak, and coaches who have never left the HBCU experience, can you just talk about being a part of that legacy, why this game is so important, and it's a beautiful thing for the youth going forward?
Well, I can tell you that having been at South Carolina State now for like 20 years, I think I've been there a little bit over 20 years now. And this is actually my second stint there because I spent another 7 years there as an assistant. So I've either been a high school coach or a coach at South Carolina State. Now, I did spend about 5 years in the SEC, so I guess those guys play a little bit of football there too. But at the same time, I can tell you that I've had a tremendous experience being in this league for the amount of time that I've been in this league, and I can honestly say that we've had about as much excitement around our program this year. We've had about as much excitement around our overall process here this way that we'll, I think, continue to be, a really strong program for years and years to come. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I'll try to go in that direction somewhere.
I would say, being from Howard, I coach at many HBCUs. I did step away, coach at FAU with Lane Kiffin. When I came back in HBCU, I felt like it was something missing. I enjoy this level of football because what's around it as far as the culture and tradition. And being in SWAC for a couple of years, I think Commissioner, you guys do a great job. Each week when you travel to the different events, you get the same, it's consistent. You get the same feel, you get the same treatment, you get the same pride. Each week, if it's Mississippi Valley, if it's Southern, if it's Alcorn, it don't matter in the SWAC. Each week, the fan base is so important to the conference, and it shows. The attendance, the players, they appreciate the fans coming out and giving their all, and that's what push us through week in and week out.
I want to inject a question, if I could, Coach. You already talked about coming back to the SWAC and HBCU. You came back for a number of reasons, to share in the vision of Coach Prime, and you expected to play certain roles. But right as the season started, you ended up having to play a different role. How different was that for you to drop into the role of acting head coach for this team?
When I first came to Jackson State from Alabama State, I had a conversation with Coach Prime, and I really didn't know him. We had a conversation. He told me what was about to become. We kind of built the loyalty and the trust through those conversations, and that's the type of man that he is. Once you get his trust, he dives into you. And he told me once he got the job, he wants me to come up as number 2 guy, assistant head coach. And I couldn't pass up that opportunity because the person that I was talking to and speaking with really didn't know. But when working with him, I learned so much from a guy that had never been a head coach before. It kind of made me reinvent myself. Even though I've been a head coach before, but the way he go about it as far as day-to-day operation, as far as managing, the guy's up by 5 in the morning, probably in bed by 8, but when he's up, he's up. He's still in his podcast, he's coaching his football team, he's always trying to bring revenues and awareness to the campus. But when that situation happened, it's just an honor for me because he could have chose anyone, and I just always try to stay ready for those opportunities. And luckily, I was blessed to be in that position, but have the support around me from Ashley Roberts and his staff, and from my coaching staff and the players. They supported me. It's not all about me. I was just a guy given the steering wheel, and I just had to keep it in the middle of the road. He laid the blueprint, he laid the foundation, and as long as I didn't screw it up, I was fine. So I didn't want to make sure I stayed in conversation and always carry out his plan, his vision. But I had fun with it because you want to always be in that role, and to be back in that role. It was fun, but I had the support of Coach Prime, I had the support of people around me, along with LaToya, my day-to-day operation. But, it could be scary because, you're talking about falling behind one of the greatest player of all time, Coach Prime. And I just didn't want to screw it up, to be honest.
Next question is virtually from Kendrick Marshall.
I'm Kendrick Marshall, HBCU Sports. This question is for Coach Pugh. Coach, in your open...
Did we lose him?
We'll be back.
Sorry about that, I got muted. This is for Coach Pugh. In your opening statement, you mentioned how you wanted to not support the Celebration Bowl when the idea first came to fruition. How did your stance kind of change over the years for you to kind of like warm up to the idea of this game happening and being beneficial to both MEAC and the SWAC?
Well, it was obvious, I think, from the very beginning that this was something that should have been. And we had a chance to see, I think, maybe A&T play Alcorn a time or two, and the excitement that was being derived from that particular player, was something to behold. I had Coach Broadway and his wife over at our house a couple of times, and they've got everybody in my household juiced up about what's going, how great an atmosphere and all the different kinds of things that are going on, at the different affairs that they enjoyed having, taking a part in. So it's been, a pretty obvious affair at this point that for sure that this is something that's going to be, bigger and better, as we continue to build. So it's building at a rate right now where it's moving at warp speed, I think, at a rate, at a place where, we'll have maybe, this place fully sold out in another couple opportunities this way.
Good morning, Don Stinson, DNA Sports Talk. Coach Pugh, you've been a staple at South Carolina State. We see so many coaches leave and go. What has kept you at this school?
nobody else wants me. How about that deal? No, I think the thing that's really kept me there more than anything else is I'm home. You know, I love the place. I'm a South Carolina State alumnus. You know, it's grown in me in a way where, you know, I just enjoy going every day. You don't ever have to worry about, you know, trying to figure out, you know, where Coach Pugh is. You can pretty much find him in his office or somewhere there close by the building, because I just get so excited every day by going to work. So, you know, I've been away now, and I'm sure the people that's with me are getting to be miserable because they've been with me for about 3 or 4 days now, and I've been away from my guys, and I can tell you that I hadn't missed a practice in a lot of years. So, you know, it's a situation where, you know, I'm hooked, and, you know, I'd like to continue to do this for as long as I can.
Question from virtual, Gene?
Hey buddy, this is Gene Sapikoff from the Charleston Post and Courier. Congratulations to you and the Bulldogs. What do you think about the future state of HBCU football? Do you see some more schools leaving all HBCU conferences like A&T and Hampton have, or do you think HBCU conferences are going to just get stronger with coaches like Deion Sanders and Eddie George and all the great publicity that has brought this year?
Well, I think there's room for all the different schools of thought. You know, you've got some schools that want to go more mainstream, and some of us who enjoy staying, you know, in our traditional HBCU leagues that way. So, you know, I think you'll have a sprinkling of both. I don't necessarily have an exact plan for what will be best for, say, for instance, the MEAC, because our numbers are down as far as football playing schools are concerned. But I can tell you that we seem to like doing, you know, what we're doing, and I think we'll continue to go that way.
Last question.
Good morning. My name is Kanika Cabarrus with Next Level Sports and Entertainment. Being the only minority-owned sports network, we passionately support HBCUs. With the atmosphere and the awakening of 2020, George Floyd, and the civil rights movement, do you believe that has empowered your teams? And have you had a sit-down discussion with your teams to talk about the cultural importance of HBCUs? And this question is for both coaches.
Well, we spoke to the team about that situation. I mean, it was pretty much getting the team intact when that situation occurred. A lot of things we spoke on as far as make sure they understand how to conduct themselves in certain situations, and just try to use the situation to, once again, to empower themselves to make a change. It was an unfortunate situation. It definitely impacted not only our student athletes, but a lot of folks across the country, and just try to make sure they understand as far as how to go about maneuver in those situations. And you know, it's tough. You know, it's a tough situation. We understand that. But we just always try to educate our guys on not only the George Floyd situation, but just how to handle authority. You might be driving down the street, get pulled over by a police officer, and just be somewhat compliant to make sure that you get home safely. And that's one thing Coach Brian preach on. Anytime we get a break, Christmas break, any type of break, just make sure you don't do anything detrimental that can harm yourself. And we always want to make sure we get our kids back safely.
We have a Bulldog Experience session every so often to have an opportunity to talk about whatever is current, you know, in affairs at that point. Our plan is always to involve our young men with people who, you know, have had different varied experiences and have had opportunities to do certain things. Most of our guys that we bring in have some kind of connection. We have doctors and lawyers and preachers and teachers and all kinds of folk who are in the immediate area, sometimes who come through from various places that we allow to stand before our team and have certain conversations about current event topics of sorts, you know, whatever they may be. It is a thought that you'd be, you know, more inclined to gravitate toward our HBCUs when there are, you know, black issues out there, or issues in general, you know, that seem to have some kind of affinity to the black population, you know, that way. You know, we try to do our very best of making our guys aware and give them an opportunity to be able to, you know, have discussions about what might be and what ought to be. And, you know, in those particular cases, we try our best to try to, you know, drive our guys as best we can toward being able to be successful, you know, in this life of hardship and issues that we have in our general population today.